Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for The Nice Guys. Honestly, I didn't really hear about this movie until a couple weeks ago. I was seeing a movie, and the trailer for The Nice Guys popped up on the screen, and I went, oh, I better put that on my review schedule. I mean, that looks pretty hilarious. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but I don't think it was a good movie either. First, let's just go ahead and tackle the positive elements of this movie. The elements that I thought were really good and worked really well. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. That was the first and foremost thing for this movie that worked really well. And since the movie is centered around these guys, it resembles a buddy-buddy cop movie because basically it's a murder and Ryan Gosling is a private detective. Russell Crowe's a guy who beats the living snot out of people to, who is paid by other people to do that to get the creepy people to back off, all that crazy stuff. I don't know. This is where it's like a buddy-buddy cop movie because they end up accidentally kind of on the same case and they have to work it together. And in that case, there's some hilarious hijinks that ensue. When I say hijinks, I don't mean like cartoony, over-the-top hijinks. I mean, actually, this movie was really serious in parts. The action was really good, but overall, it was still kind of a comedy at heart because it was just awesome to watch Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe together. Like, Ryan Gosling's character by himself was a great character. Like, he was struggling with his inner demons, struggling to be a good father to his daughter, Holly, struggling to overcome and all that stuff. So he's kind of like the underdog, and you're watching him deal with his demons and things like that, so you find yourself rooting for him. And then when he has this moments where he screams like a girl, because he had this really high-pitched scream, I don't know. I thought it was pretty hilarious. They didn't use it over the top, so those places where it did happen, it's like, okay, I'm not annoyed. That just is pretty funny. And then Russell Crowe, he was definitely the tough guy. I mean, obviously paid to, beat the ever-living snot out of people, so yeah, he's like the muscle of their partnership. And so, it was a cool movie because it was really cool to watch these two work together. And that was probably the most enjoyable aspect of the movie for me. Like, even in those places where it felt long or whatever, it was those two and their chemistry together and the way they pulled it off that, kept me engaged and kept me wondering what's going to happen next. Now, this movie takes place in 1977 in Los Angeles. A lot of cool aspects about that. I lived in Los Angeles for a couple of years, and I thought the smog was bad. This movie kind of shows you what the smog was like in the 70s. It wasn't like an overbearing plot line, but it was there, and you kind of watched them have to deal with it, because that was just the environment that they lived in. So that was kind of interesting and things like that. Holly, the daughter of Ryan Gosling in this movie, was also a great character. I mean, she wants to be a detective. She's like 13 years old, and so she sneaks into her dad's trunk and follows them on their cases and things like that, and turns out to be like this incredible help to them on their cases. So when you had the three of them together, it was actually really cool because it added a layer. She sort of ended up becoming the moral compass of the two. Russell Crowe didn't mind killing that much. Ryan Gosling just kept getting drunk and all that stuff. But when Holly showed up, she just kind of became that moral compass and also added a layer of comedy to, the duo that was already there. And I thought that was really cool. I didn't feel like it overdid anything like that. It felt like it worked really well together. So those are the overwhelming positives of this movie and the things that kept me engaged. The negative, though, I just felt like this movie was long. I think it was, 2 hours long or something like that? I don't know. It felt like it was that full length of the 2 hours. It didn't feel like it moved along that fast for me. There were long stretches where it was just kind of boring, and it's like, okay, guys, is this really the story? Can we just move this right along? Come on. And look, this kind of just depends on the sensitivity of whoever's going to the movie theater. I'm just letting you know what's there. It's a rated R movie, so yeah, honestly, what do you expect? So it's 1977. The murder mystery is centered around the porn industry. This movie's not about porn or anything like that. It's just kind of centered around the industry because that's where this murder and this mystery and this stuff is taking place. So it's weird because I feel like simultaneously this movie had all kinds of nudity and dirty things, but at the same time it wasn't overwhelming, but it was kind of present throughout the entirety of the movie. So if that's something that you don't like and you're looking to avoid, I'm just letting you know that's something that's pretty present in this movie. And again, I'm trying to keep this thing spoiler free, but the actual plot of the movie didn't make a lot of sense to me. It felt like it had a lot of holes because without spoiling anything, they're after something. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. They're after something that's supposedly supposed to prove this other party guilty. But the thing that they're after and the way it proves the other person's guilty, I don't think would hold up in any court of law. So to me, that was like one kind of fatal flaw with that as well. When it comes down to it, I think I'm gonna give this movie 2.5 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't love it either. I really enjoyed Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. The real reason that I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 stars is because I really did feel like this movie was pretty slow. It felt long to me in watching it. And if it wasn't for Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, and then the daughter Holly and all that stuff, I would not have enjoyed this movie at all. It's those three doing their job right that kept me engaged. Otherwise, I overall felt like it was kind of a boring movie, but I don't know. That's my 2 cents on the movie, 2.5 stars. If you saw it, how many stars would you give it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.